What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooo. So today I'm bringing to you a card discussion about Spellbook of Knowledge, a brand new Spellbook card that's going to be debuting in Code of the Duelist only about a couple weeks from the time of me recording this video. And this card is the first real piece of Spellbook support we've seen back since the glory days when Spellbooks were a tier 1 to tier 1.5 contender. And I think that's really awesome because I know a lot of us still have, traumatic memories of Spellbook of Judgment actually being in the format, but Spellbook Knowledge is a little bit different. Spellbook of Knowledge not only provides support for its own archetype, but also has synergy with just a plethora of other different archetypes as well that we're going to be discussing in this video. So first off, if you're unfamiliar, Spellbook of Knowledge is a normal spell card with an effect that reads, send to the graveyard either one spellcaster monster face up on the field, or a Spellbook card that's either in your hand or face up on the field as well to draw 2 cards. And you can only use the effect of Spellbook of Knowledge once per turn. Now the end clause is pretty much just like every other spellbook, because if it didn't have this clause, this card would be absolutely fucking insane. But regardless about that, this card is still incredibly powerful. Now, a lot of you guys might at first glance want to compare this to a card like Wonder Wand. Wonder Wand kind of does the same thing, but kind of doesn't at the same time. Wonder Wand is an equip spell card, and although it gives the equipped monster 500 attack, you have to tribute it as cost to be able to get the draw effect off. And the fact that it's an equipped spell card makes it very susceptible to tons of different removal, whereas Spellbook of Knowledge doesn't have that, that weakness to it. The fact that Spellbook of Knowledge resolves at the effect rather than a cost is huge, because it means that you're not susceptible to all these other different types of things that you might normally be susceptible to. For example, if your opponent, let's say, were to hit something, let's say you had a spellcaster monster on the field and your opponent were to hit that monster, if you still have a spellbook card in your hand, you can still resolve Spellbook of Knowledge, no problem. Whereas if it was equipped with Wonder Wand, they could hit that monster or even hit the Wonder Wand with removal, and then it's not going to resolve, and then you pretty much just wasted your turn at that point. So it's a lot more flexible and a lot more, applicable than something like Wonder Wand. So frankly, I think Wonder Wand's just going to get shoved aside, and Spellbook of Knowledge is definitely going to take it over. And the reason I say that is because of the natural synergy that it has with 2 of the main Spellbook cards, Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, as well as Spellbook of Secrets. The cool thing about these cards is, depending on however many numbers of Spellbook of Secrets and Magician of Prophecy you choose to run, it's like you're running extra copies of Spellbook of Knowledge, which essentially extends to you running multiple copies of a themed trade-in, so to speak. So for instance, let's say you normal summon Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. You're going to yield the +1 off of his search effect and either get the Spellbook of Knowledge or Spellbook of Secrets if you want to do even more deck thinning to search out the Spellbook of Knowledge. Then from there, you can use Knowledge to either get rid of the Magician of Prophecy that you summoned, or you can get rid of another card in your hand to draw 2 new cards. So the amount of deck thinning that Spellbook of Knowledge provides, not only because of the draw 2 effect, but because of the fact that you can literally just search multiple cards before you do your draw 2, is extraordinary and allows for such powerful deck thinning, and really, is almost better than trade-in in a way, because it allows you to dig deeper into the cards you actually want to see. By being able to remove those extra copies of Spellbook Magician of Prophecy or Spellbook of Secrets from your deck before you proceed with the draw 2 effect is absolutely huge. Going further than that, though, if you decide to be a baller and play something like, Spellbook of the Master as well, you can use Spellbook of Knowledge to get your draw 2, then use Spellbook of Master to copy the Spellbook of Knowledge that's in your graveyard to draw an additional 2 cards as well, because Spellbook of Master ignores the once per turn clause, because Spellbook of Master is its own card, and that's basically how Spellbooks have worked since their inception. So if you're wanting to go that route, that's something that you can absolutely do as well in a dedicated pure Spellbook build. But what I want to discuss, and what I'm more interested in with Spellbook of Knowledge, is the synergy that this card has with other archetypes in the game. Now sure, like I already discussed, you already have the synergy with Spellbook Magician of Prophecy and Spellbook of Secrets, which essentially turns it into a mini draw 2 engine, playing, let's say, 3 Spellbook of Secrets, maybe 2 to 3 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, and quite frankly, you can get away with playing 2 copies of Spellbook of Knowledge, because since it's so searchable, you don't really need to play so many copies of it to have access to it, since it can be easily dug up from your deck. But there's plenty of other powerful spellcaster archetypes that Spellbook of Knowledge synergizes very well with, the first one being Invoked. Invoked, and mainly Alistair the Invoker here, has been something that Wonderwand has been notoriously known for. Its combo of playing Alistair, you get to add your search of your invocation, then you can Wonderwand the Alistair, draw 2 cards, and then now Alistair's in your graveyard, so you can pretty much use invocation for free, and so on and so forth. Spellbook of Knowledge essentially does the exact same thing that Wonderwand does, but what's really cool about it is the synergy in that you actually have a card that is searchable rather than hoping that you draw into the Wonderwand, on top of all the things I discussed previously, in that it's just a better version of Wonderwand and not as susceptible to as many different forms of removal. This is a very popular playstyle in Japan currently, that with all of the Invoked variants, they're playing these Spellbook cards as well, just for the extra draws and the ability to dig deeper into more combo pieces, more trap cards, just more powerful cards in general, since Alistair is just a free +1 on summon, and you want to get Alistair into the graveyard because you're going to be using it for the invocation anyway, and then you tie that in the fact with the cards you have like Magical Meltdown to search the Alistair. You have a plethora of different cards that make searching not only the Alistair, but the Spellbook of Knowledge incredibly easy, making sure that you can pull off these insanely powerful combos. Now, moving on to another spellcaster archetype that's been seeing a lot of popularity lately is the Windwitches. Now, the Windwitches are just really cool because they're basically like the new age Terror Top, a lot of people are calling it, because frankly what's going to happen is you're going to go from your Ice Spell and you're going to rank up all the way into a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. You're prevented from special summoning non-wind type monsters for the rest of the turn, you're only locked into summoning wind type monsters for the rest of the turn. But regardless, that actually doesn't even matter all that much, because if you get to the Crystal Wing play, that's phenomenal, but let's say your opponent has something to stop that play. You can use the Spellbook of Knowledge to tribute the Ice Spell or whichever Windwitch monster you still have on the field to draw additional cards, and you can proceed with your turn from there, possibly drawing into some more defensive cards to maybe help, bolster your defenses for when it is your opponent's turn. And then when you synergize all 3 of these archetypes together, you got Spellbooks, you have Invoked, and you have Windwitches, you have one hell of a deck here, because you can go on and do crazy shenanigans like summoning Alistair, grabbing Invocation, using Knowledge to tribute the Alistair to draw 2, and then you have no monsters, so you can go and special summon Ice Spell, make your Crystal Wing, and then like Invocation into Raijin, and like do all these absolutely phenomenal plays. And Spellbook of Knowledge just really helps bolster the deck's capabilities and really fueling that engine because of the capabilities that Spellbook of Knowledge adds by being able to help draw you cards. I'm really excited for this card, and I'm also excited too because it's only in ultra rare in Code of the Duelist. I thought for sure when they announced this card that it was going to be a secret rare, because like all the other spellbooks, they're pretty much like high rarity, and with just purely on the fact of what this card does for certain spellcaster design decks, that it just does so much. I really thought it was going to get the high rarity treatment, but the fact that it's only an ultra rare means that it's going to be very accessible for a lot of different players. So if you're, an Invoked player or a Windwitch player, or you're soon to be one, Spellbook of Knowledge is definitely a card you're going to want to look out for when Code of the Duelist launches. And also be sure to pick up your Spellbook Magician of Prophecy and Spellbook of Secrets as well, because you're going to need those to pretty much tie everything together. So guys, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Spellbook of Knowledge as a whole. I think it's an absolutely phenomenal card, and it's really cool to see how, you know, Spellbooks might not be making this massive resurgence because of it, but it's cool to see the synergies between just having a little mini draw engine that can be facilitated in a few other types of, you know, heavy meta contenders moving forward into the format. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video as always, subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content, and if you really like this video, consider backing me on Patreon, because just by pledging only $1 a month, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you next time.